Henry Wadsworth Longfellow was born on the 27th of February 1907 in Massachusetts, United States of America. His mother named him after his uncle, Henry Wadsworth, a Navy lieutenant who had died 3 years earlier during the Battle of Tripoli. Henry's father was an attorney who wanted his son to walk in his steps and take up the law profession as a career. However, Henry was never interested in law. He believed it was a tedious and uninteresting career. At the age of 6, he was enrolled at the private Portland Academy, where he learned to speak Latin fluently. Before rounding off his schooling at the private Portland Academy, Henry became a voracious reader. His habit of reading was focused on literature alone. He was fond of reading short stories, poems, essays, and other literary works. By the time Henry was 13 years old, his passion for literary works wasn't limited to reading alone. He began to develop a keen interest in writing as well. On the 17th of November, 1920, Henry published a small piece of literary work with support from his mother. The publication was a patriotic and historical four-stanza poem titled The Battle of Lovel's Pond. Before Henry completed his secondary school education, he started pursuing his literary goals by submitting poems and short stories to numerous newspapers and magazines across the state. But to his disappointment, none of his literary works was accepted. For about 3 years, Henry couldn't make any publication, since he didn't get any backing from a publishing company or the establishment that received his submissions. But after Henry completed his secondary school education in 1825, he successfully published 24 poems, establishing his reputation as a literary writer. Months later, he was offered a job as a librarian in a college. Although Henry had not achieved literary success at the time, he was quite optimistic about the future. In the year 1931, he got married to his childhood friend. However, just 4 years later, Henry suffered a tragic heartbreak when his lovely wife died due to a miscarriage. Shortly after the demise of his wife, Henry published the first official novel, which influenced the minds of millions of readers in America and Europe. Several years later, he went on to become one of the greatest writers of the 19th century. Before his death in the late 1880s, he was greatly admired by some of the world's most influential figures, including Queen Victoria, Walt Whitman, Oscar Wilde, and Alfred Lord Tennyson. One of the greatest mistakes a man can ever make is to live his life without finding a purpose. If you can't find your purpose in life, then there's no reason why you should exist at all. Purpose gives your life meaning. It gives you a valid reason why you should stay alive and fight against the storms of life. Viktor Frankl said, "Life is never made unbearable by circumstances, but only by lack of meaning and purpose." Most times, people think life is frustrating and unbearable due to the series of problems that they face. But the truth is, life can only become depressing and devastating when you have nothing to live for. When you have something to live for, which is your purpose, you will do almost anything within your power to stay sane and positive. Winston Churchill said, "It is not enough to have lived. We should be determined to live for something." In life, you should be determined about something. You should find your purpose and ignite your determination spirit. If you think it's alright to live your life without a purpose, then you are tragically wrong. You need to find your purpose if you must become great and successful. Washington Irving said, "Great minds have purpose. Others have wishes. Greatness is embedded in purpose. The moment you discover and unlock your purpose, greatness would be inevitable. Don't just make wishes. Don't just fantasize about living a perfect life when you haven't even found your purpose. Purpose comes first. Find it." Henry Longfellow found his purpose and lived a meaningful life. You too can find your purpose. Start seeking after it.